Welcome to Popgeist. And on this episode, we will be discussing digital as it affects culture. Before digital came, information management and the gateway for information dissemination was guarded by certain moral and ethical standards. So for you to pass or disseminate information, you have to pass through some moral QC or ethical QC. We are not trying to. I'm not trying to say digital is the evil of our age. But I'm just saying, with the advantage of media, also comes the dire disadvantage of media. One of the dire disadvantages of media is the erosion and the degradation of moral, cultural, ethical standards.
Yeah, because if you look at what digitalization and everyday technology advances, there's always a new thing coming out instant. You see people are losing interaction, like human connection. You have people, we could literally, when was the last time you saw families there? Because growing up, we used to eat at the dinner table, have true. Conversation. My mom be like, no phones at the dinner table, no this. But these days you have people, we can be in a room like this and we're literally texting each other. There's this whole, I want to say something about social media, which is narcissism. The narcissistic behavior of human beings has gone up to 98%. It's like,
and then there's a medium to express the narcissism.
Exactly. And then there's this whole lack of empathy and humanism. Because I can just stay behind a phone screen, a computer screen, write whatever I want to,
put it out there,
portray whatever I want to, not being aware of the consequences of said thing that I'm portraying and not caring.
There's a concept in journalism called butterfly journalism.
I thought you were going to say butterfly effect.
No, in this case,
Butterfly journalism means a juicy story comes up, you perch on it, you suck out the juice, and you will never come back to it.
Exactly. Go on to the next.
On to the next juicy.
So it's like fast track news.
Fast track news. I think that concept also finds its way into social media, digital social media interactions and building of relationships. So it's more of what's trending. And if it's trending, it's out there. That's what everybody cares about. Nobody cares about the follow-up to it or what happened. What's the aftermath of it? Okay, for example,
that's the word we are even trying to study. The aftermath of
digital. With globalization came that cultural appropriation. Now, you can say the advantage of having digital to portray culture is now more people know about your culture. More people know about the way you do things.
But that's the advantage to it.
It's a tricky one.
But the idea of it all was this was supposed to help serve this better. That was the idea of it all. But the backlash of the whole thing now it's twisted. Like, for example, when we talked about globalization was initially to usher us into this idea whereby I didn't have to cross over from one geographical location and the other to meet or interact or get a taste of that culture. I could stay from the comfort of my home and I could still have that same, it might not be the exact same, but at least that value, I could just have that idea, that same, and that was the beauty about it. When social media came about and Facebook was introduced, it was phenomenal here. Everyone was like, oh my goodness, I don't even have to come up to you to see you.
Let's look at pedophiles now. At first, it was as much more difficult, but then with technology and digitalization, young children, because some parents are not very careful and they're not tech savvy as they should, and they'll get tablets for them kids, and then they don't look, the security of it is not properly done, and these kids can innocently go online.
That's the access,
and then they start talking to strangers. Frontal lobe is not completely developed. It's easy for them to be fooled, and pedophiles would take advantage of that.
We know digital is good. It has democratized a lot of things, a lot of access, entertainment, education, information has been democratized. You're before the internet, before digital, before you can have access to a plethora of trillions of terabytes or zettabytes of data on your hands.
Yeah.
You were limited to just the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And there's just a limit to how many encyclopedias you can have.
I'm telling you.
Exactly.
The need for media literacy.
It's important.
More like media and digital literacy. Because the reason is, how do you, as an audience, as the one receiving this gazillions of information, how do you use it properly?
Yeah.
More like, okay, I see you, I receive what you're saying, but is it worth it? Do I need it?
Yes.
Is it beneficial to my mental health? Is it beneficial to my spiritual well-being? Is it beneficial to my knowledge archive or whatever? Is it going to corrupt my system? Is it going to make me think in a certain way? Because the reason for the need to be media and digital literate at this moment has never been more crucial than now.
It is. Yeah,
because
very.
the gatekeeping process is down.
It's down. I thought the gate crashed a long time ago.
It crashed. Yeah. At the moment the digital era came, every form of gatekeeping kind of crashed.
Yeah.
It's everything. So nobody is paying attention to what the moral or ethical consequences of an information going out is. Nobody is actively. They are there, but because of the many voices in the stratosphere or in the atmosphere right now,
information is desensitized.
So you have to actively navigate to where true information is coming from. And because this present generation or even the older generation are still grappling with it. Okay, I'm a millennial. I'm in between the divide.
It's a hybrid generation.
So now, we are the. I always say we are at an advantage because we understand the morals and the cultural ethical standards that held sway before digital came in. And we understood why those institutionalized ethics or morals were. And they kind of accord us in a way to be responsible mentally and socially and every other one. Now, this generation after the millennials, they were just born into this digital internet age.
So in a way, it's like this is
fast.
all they've known.
Everything is fast music, fast education, fast information, fast music. They need to actually learn media literacy.
No, they do.
And I think that one of the things that is important right now is like someone watching this is you should ask yourself as a young person, right, as a millennial, the first question you should ask yourself, which is not really, I would take the example, if you don't eat meat, are you going to let somebody else force you to eat meat? No.
Exactly.
So, like, let's be honest. Let's break it down. You are in a room by yourself. There's a certain level of truths that you know to yourself. Ain't nobody going to tell you that. Whether you can lie to yourself outside or not, but when you're in the four walls of a room, locked by yourself, thinking truths, ain't nobody on the phone with you, nobody's watching you, there's a certain amount of truth that you know. You can admit to yourself. The first question you should ask yourself is, do you want to be a robot or do you want to have control?
Now that's a dicey one because why do I say that that's a dicey one is because for you to have a form of internal locus anchor to dissect or to ascertain or to have that personalized communication within yourself, there has to be a foundation to it.
That goes back to family. How you were raised and the views that you got.
Now we are in this fast-paced world. So now you have a foundation of fast. Now it is Generation Z, for example, that has been built on the foundation of fast. Everything is fast. There's no standard.
To guide them or to say this should be.
This is what they know.
Like this is your limit. This is where you should call it.
Digital brought in limitless possibilities. It is good.
And without the proper guiding.
Possibilities,
it is good, but with like Spider-Man, with great power comes
great responsibility.
Now that's the other phrase is what is missing right now. There's great power, there's great access, but there's no great responsibility. It is an age of I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do.
It is an age of irresponsibility.
Is it? It's just a freedom. That's what.
See, if you're not responsible, you're what?
Irresponsible.
It's that simple.
But
it's black and
here's
white.
the thing that I
it's
say to
not in
people who
between.
say I can do whatever the F I want and then I get away with it. That's true, but a few things are gonna happen. Even with the lack of that foundation of family values and everything, this is what I say to people now. I know this probably people might actually hate me differently with this one, but I strongly feel that at 18, from 18 above, it's no longer your parents' responsibility.
Yeah.
They didn't know any better. You know any better now because, say from 20 upward, come on now. There's a global war right here at your fingertips. At that point, sometimes you gotta decide for yourself, okay, what future do I want? Because trust me, you can't say you don't think for yourself. You're in school, you're university, you wanna graduate, what do you wanna get a job and stuff? Sometime from that age, you gotta stop blaming your parents because they didn't know any better.
Yeah, you're right there because even when, personally myself, when I was growing up, I got a lot of, my mom and dad really did a lot. Well, at some point, it wasn't like I was stubborn, but at some point I just felt a little bit more rebellious because I wanted to do things my own way because I just wanted to do.
I think that's a default setting for teenagers.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, when I got into the university, that's when I think my lecturer one day spoke to me and was like, you will always, even if your parents fail, you always have teachers. If your teachers fail, you have lecturers. But because what I was just trying to drive at was, these days, there will come a time when that responsibility of illocal parentis that is laid upon the teachers and the lecturers will die off. So he was trying to let me also count yourself lucky that we still cater to your needs like parents. Yeah, so that I really so even if your parents don't even can't even come on, you have teachers, you have friends. They are role models.
But then I have reservation when it comes to Nigerian institutions.
But wait. Now you're saying I get your point that the part of being responsible at a point for what you want to become who you are.
Yeah.
Now,
and let's not forget, not just who you are, the kind of information you digest. That's the most important thing.
Fine, that's fine. But when the foundation is faulty, what can anyone do actually? Now, we are saying the basic unit of any society is the family. Now, if the family hasn't laid any proper foundation, that's -1 for that individual.
Yeah.
Now, going into the society, there is no strong moral or ethical standards per se anymore.
Yeah.
It will take that individual who already has a failed family support system.
Yeah.
Now, it will take a miracle for that person to be introduced to the proper or right information that's going to make him aware of himself and of the information that he or she gets bombarded with on a daily basis to now make a conscious effort to filter. Because information can be conscious, you're seeing it, okay, this is coming, and then they can be very
subliminal,
because the subliminal messages are the most dangerous.
Yeah, the most dangerous ones because you're receiving it, but you don't even know it's there.
I think that when it comes to that now, I think that for someone who is in that predicament, everybody in life, whether you're educated or not, it could be whether you're by Igbo, Hausa, and that because we're speaking in English now, it's not everybody that might be that standard that even understand English. I feel like as human beings, we don't completely lose our spiritual morality. Like there's that inner spirit that tells you, oh, you're in danger. That voice you never see.
If it gets seared, if it's
silence to a certain point, right?
If it has never been introduced to any form of standard of ethical, if it had not been introduced to any form of ethical or moral standard, it might be difficult.
Yeah, but that's where I'm going now because we're spiritual beings, and I'm not being religious right now. We have souls. There's a way that our souls get attracted to the right form of energy, the right source of information for our souls. And you find people like, I don't even understand, but there's just something about that. So because of that, these people have people they look up to. Not because they probably might understand all of them, but like, there's just something that resonates. They can't explain. And if you start feeling that way, that's what I think most people who are in that predicament should do is find out why. And if it's something that resonates, it's something that if you think forward and say, oh, I want my life to be like that, then you pursue that.
Good. Now that's where she's coming from when you were talking. When you were talking about critical thinking, she just talked about that. Now, in that, relative to that, I believe I support what she says to a whole lot, because now let me draw from you when you mentioned something about family, because two of you actually almost even saying the same thing. But I'll just tie it up. Now, when you said family, I guess you were trying to talk about the immediate family.
Yeah, of course.
But we must also understand that family doesn't always necessarily have to be those people you share blood with. Doesn't necessarily have to be those people who you have.
But that's the first point of.
I'm not denying that, but I'm just responding in that aspect of what in this situation whereby the immediate family fails.
Yeah.
Well, let me even ask: did digital also affect the family structure?
Yes, it did.